coming up this morning.
Flames lighting up the night sky as officials decide burning is better than containing a leaking tanker on I-10. Hey, morning, everybody. Welcome to the early edition. Thanks so much for being with us. Wednesday, August 22nd, your time right now. I'm Matt Williams, but we got to talk to Johnny Asian first. That's the guy you want to speak to. Johnny, this is One Direction about to be closed down, one already shut down.
It's I-10 eastbound going outbound right here at Essen Lane. All eastbound lanes at Essen are closed. Leaking propane that has also affected the westbound lanes of I-12. And so we have a situation that's going to create some serious morning rush hour problems already this morning. In other words, these ramps right here are closed, so you can't go that way. You're going to have to detour this way onto I-10, onto I-12, and hop off somewhere down the like Airline Highway, or if you do get off at Essen, it's bumper to bumper, go all the way down to Perkins and back on at Bluebonnet. It's just a nightmare out there right now. Hey, Kurt, good morning. How are you?
Good morning to you.
Boy, bless your heart. And Baton Rouge Fire Department spokesperson, you have a lot going on this morning. First of all, quickly, tell us what happened.
We had a tanker truck that's hauling a product called isobutane, which is a product that's very similar to, the propane tanks that you carry or use in your family barbecue grills. The problem is right now this truck was rear-ended and it has a rupture, and it is leaking product as we speak. We know that there's around 9,000 gallons of product in the tanker, which is about 45,000 pounds. And you're correct, we are shutting Essen Lane down as we speak.
This is 9 News at noon.
Oh, it was quite an adventure.
It was bumper to bumper all of the way. It was a disaster.
Gridlock across the capital city after an accident shuts down Interstate 10. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Lauren Westbrook, and for those of you on the road, thanks for listening to us on 107.3. We are unfortunately learning the traffic nightmare is not going to be over anytime soon in Baton Rouge. We have team coverage on the wreck that caused the traffic jam across multiple parishes. We begin with WAFB's Elizabeth Val, who is right near the site of that accident along the interstate near Essen Lane. Elizabeth, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lauren, and it's kind of a bad afternoon around here. We're entering the 8th hour of the scene behind me. It was around 4 a.m. this morning when a tanker truck carrying isobutane, which is an extremely flammable gas, was rear-ended, causing a leak. Now, as far as we know, that leak is still going, which is why authorities have us positioned here about a half-mile away from the scene, well out of the red zone. Meanwhile, hazmat crews are working to defuse what could be an extremely explosive situation. We've been speaking with officials all morning long for the latest, and here's what they had to say. The heart of the Baton Rouge roadways at a standstill. A string of early morning wrecks here on I-10 near Essen left a tanker truck carrying 9,000 gallons of flammable gas leaking its contents.
Very dangerous situation. It's highly flammable gas, so it's going to take quite a while just to prep the truck before they even start the offload process.
Baton Rouge Police, Fire Department, Hazmat, and State Police have worked since the early morning hours to stop the leak.
As far as the general public goes, we feel like we've established a safe zone, and they're safe. The danger comes into the emergency workers on scene that will actually handle this tedious and hazardous process.
Before the leak can be stopped and the wreck cleared, damaged valves must be replaced, a process that is both dangerous and tedious.
The valves that generally you use to offload the trailer have been damaged in the accident. So emergency workers have to go in and either repair the valves that are there or install a new valve.
Meanwhile, traffic is being diverted around the interstates, and state police warn motorists that the cleanup could continue well into the night.
Two things. Number one, they need to prepare for that, prepare in advance. If they can stay away from this area, from Airline Highway, Highland Road, Perkins Road, all of the side streets around the interstates 10 and 12, we want them to do that.
Now, unfortunately, there is no real timeline on when those valves will be replaced. That is the tricky part and the very dangerous part. So, of course, authorities are working through every plan, every possibility before they get started. And again, after that's done, that could take even several more hours just to offload all the gas and then clear the wreck. So there's a distinct possibility that we could be looking at the scene through the night, even into the early morning hours. So again, motorists beware. And speaking of motorists, continuing with our team coverage, Johnny Asian, I think it can give some people some more advice, huh?
Yeah, we have some good news in all of this. As a matter of fact, right now, the good news is, and I'm going to give you two camera shots, I-10 east and westbound near College Drive. The westbound lanes on the far right of your screen going toward the downtown area. Eastbound the other side looks pretty good. And I-12 as well looks pretty good on all the way from the split out to Livingston Parish.
Department of Transportation officials are making some changes along alternate routes in hopes of getting things moving. Airline Highway being a major across-town roadway.
Right. This is very similar to what we would do in a hurricane or some other evacuation kind of scenario, where we are making Airline Highway a priority route. Basically, what we've gone out there in coordination with the city is synchronized all the signals so that Airline gets the longest green, so that is continuing to flow.
Adjusting these lights along Airline will hopefully open up the road out of the city in both directions. As a consequence, people turning onto Airline from some smaller access roads might notice shorter light cycles, so watch out for that. Of course, anything to get traffic flowing again would be welcome news to drivers out there, especially people who are stuck on Essen Lane. EBR sheriff's deputies are turning cars around here. Those U-turns causing trouble at one point, at least one accident here already. Some drivers reported sitting in traffic for hours just trying to get to work or doctor's appointments. But for most, it's just a frustrating wait.
This is 9 News at 5.
Well, it's hard to say it, but good afternoon to you, folks. I'm Greg Merriweather.
What a day it's been. I'm Cheryl Mercedes. Thanks for joining us. It doesn't appear I-10 and the traffic nightmare surrounding it will be going away anytime soon.
We have several reports covering it all for you this afternoon here at 5. Tana Williams begins our team coverage with several items we've just learned here in the last few minutes. She's live from the one place where there isn't a car in sight, the closed down, deserted section of I-10. Tana, what's the very latest you can tell us on all this?
Well, Greg, I can tell you that DEQ is continuing to monitor the air quality in the area, and we're told things appear to be okay here for now. Just about 2 hours ago, though, state police did tell us they made this a no-fly zone, meaning only their helicopter would be allowed to go up in the air to assess the situation, which is just a couple feet from where I am standing. The tank carrying isobutane that was overturned this morning in that crash continues to stay there, sitting rather, waiting on several experts who are down there looking at the area, trying to assess what's the safest possible way to offload the chemicals within. The heat is actually expanding things, so they're trying to wait until things cool off and kind of get that out of the area safely. Meanwhile, all this has made motorists wonder when they'll be safely able to navigate the city again. Some puzzled faces this afternoon, 8 hours after the incident on the interstate. Local drivers thought things were back to normal, and some out-of-towners just wondering what was going on. Baton Rouge police say early this morning, before 4 o'clock, 2 cars crashed on I-10 East near Essen. A tanker truck carrying isobutane hit its brakes to avoid that accident and was rear-ended by an 18-wheeler. Isobutane began leaking onto the roadway here, causing the interstate to be shut down while hazmat crews try to safely offload the flammable gas. Meantime, drivers stuck in the aftermath wonder what now will be done about the traffic.
Yeah, I wonder about that, yeah. Hopefully it's not like this tomorrow when I gotta come to work. I'm ready to get home.
Where are you coming from?
Offshore.
And how long have you been sitting here?
2 hours.
So you can tell some frustrated drivers this morning on trying to figure out which way they could go to get through the city. This afternoon, around 5:30, we're expecting the Mayor President Kip Holden, along with some other notables, State Police Colonel Mike Edmondson and Superintendent Mike Edmondson, and the Chief of Police here in Baton Rouge to address the issue, kind of give us the what's latest. But for now, we're going to go to Michelle McCallop in the traffic center, who's going to tell us, is our drive home going to get any better, Michelle?
All of you out there, some good news actually. It's not too bad on the interstates considering. Here's a 4-camera shot. We're looking at I-10 and Acadian here. As you can see, traffic isn't too bad there. You do have some backup here at I-10 and City Place as you head eastward toward the 10-12 split where it is closed at Essence. But once you get past that on I-12 East here at Drusilla, as you can see, traffic is moving at a pretty good pace. Now, you do have some backup starting to form here on Airline Highway as people are exiting Airline to go to Gonzales, and then I'll turn it over to my colleague Johnny Asian for more details on that.
Thank you, Michelle. We're looking at Airline Highway itself. If you're going home to Denham, as Michelle said, not near the problem as going home to Gonzales will be. If you can make your way back on the interstate around Seagan and go outbound, it'll be a good drive for you. But Airline Highway starts well before the 10-12 split, southbound right past over the Nesser overpass, which is the overpass over Jefferson Highway. You see Jefferson Highway merging onto Airline southbound right there at that area, and it's very backed up on Jefferson Highway approaching Airline Highway, so be very aware of that. It's going to take you a long time to get home. Keep up with things on WAFB.com, Facebook, and Twitter. Also follow us on our apps. If you don't have the WAFB News app, you can follow us. Get that. It's absolutely free. We'll be on again at 6 with another update. And thank you for blogging, the live blog all afternoon. I'll continue to answer some of your questions until 6:30 tonight.
Meanwhile, in West Baton Rouge, traffic came to a crawl this afternoon, believe it or not, just off of Highway 190 after an 18-wheeler there overturned.
Yeah, could not believe it. Lobdell firefighters say the truck carrying lime slurries overturned as it was turning off of Highway 415 onto 190. A small amount of diesel leaked from the truck when it flipped on its side. The Lobdell fire chief says the leak is no longer a concern, but traffic might be.
This is 9 News at 6.
We have breaking news updates on multiple situations at this hour. You have high drama today at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Officers have a man in custody after he locked himself in a cockpit. And Baton Rouge is in the throes of a so-called Carpocolypse, a mammoth gridlock that we woke to this morning. It is not resolved all day, paralyzing the city and possibly traffic from several states. Baton Rouge Police Chief Dwayne White updated us on this situation just moments ago.
When this occurs, we will be doing a mandatory evacuation, which the Mayor President has authorized, and the Baton Rouge City Police will be going house to house, making notification to individuals well in advance.
That will happen later this evening. For now, let's go straight to WAFB's Tiana Williams. She's live on I-10. Tiana?
Well, Donna, we heard from that press conference the chief of the Baton Rouge Police Department saying that that would possibly be the case after 10 o'clock tonight. We're told this is kind of one of those unprecedented situations whereby this has never happened anywhere before, but today it happened in Baton Rouge. The valves on the overturned tanker were all smashed during the crash this morning, so that's what's taking so long and trying to come up with a plan. But now that we have that, you know, some people are still wondering what's going to be done to make sure that this doesn't happen in the future. Nowhere to move, even to allow emergency vehicles through. Bumper-to-bumper traffic and brake lights. Not an unfamiliar scene to many who navigate the roads here in the Red Stick. But even when the side streets are congested, chaos and confusion are some of the words that come to mind.
No, I've been out here. I know I've been out here for at least about an hour and something. You know, and I was wondering what was happening because I couldn't get on the interstate.
8 hours into the interstate shutdown, surprisingly, some drivers were a bit puzzled by the backups. But for others who'd been stuck for hours, they were just glad to be inching along.
I'm ready to get home.
Where are you coming from?
Offshore.
And how long have you been sitting here?
2 hours.
Baton Rouge police say this morning around 3:40, 2 cars crashed in the east lanes of I-10 near Essen. A tanker carrying isobutane stopped to avoid that collision and was rear-ended by an 18-wheeler. Isobutane, a highly flammable liquid, began leaking from the tanker. Offloading it safely is now the main concern, but doing so has been hampered because all the tanker's valves were smashed in the crash.
Made another valve so they can't offload the product. Very dangerous situation. It's highly flammable gas, so it's going to take quite a while just to prep the truck before they even start the offload process.
Leaving drivers like Kevin Devlow taking an unplanned tour through Baton Rouge.
Should have went the other way through Jackson and come down.
How far you got to go?
About 4 more hours.
We still do not have word on how many homes will be affected by this evacuation, how many homes are around the area in the vicinity of the truck. What we are told, though, is that the smell down there is kind of something a mix between butane and beer. Apparently, the 18-wheeler that hit the tanker this morning was carrying a lot of beer, so that is the smell down there. We're going to send things back to Johnny Asian, who's in the traffic center, to tell us about the drive home this evening. People trying to navigate their way through the city. Johnny?
All things considered, the interstate outbound, not bad from the downtown area all the way out to the 10-12 split. We do have a little issue on the outbound side of I-10 between Acadian and College. This is the College Drive camera turned and faced toward downtown, so your outbound traffic is right there again. That's not creating, as you can see, any delay behind that. Our delay is getting out to not Livingston Parish, but Ascension Parish. A lot of people going I-12 to Airline, getting off at Airline. This is Airline Highway southbound over the Jefferson-Drusilla overpass right there, over the Jefferson overpass, which is the Nesser overpass, going outbound. You see where Jefferson merges onto outbound on Airline Highway South. A lot of these cars are getting onto Segan and going back to I-10, getting back on at I-10. Let me show you a quick map very quickly and show you what is open and what is closed. Do we have that map? There we go. Westbound traffic still being detoured off at Segan. Eastbound traffic going out to I-10, but Bluebonnet northbound traffic can get on going eastbound. Northbound traffic coming out of the Mall of Louisiana, you can go right on Bluebonnet and go right on the interstate and go outbound on I-10.
You know the men and women who protect us and save us? The first responders were fighting traffic today, and WAP's Kelsey Davis rode along with East Baton Rouge EMS workers to see how they managed.
When East Baton Rouge Parish EMS workers get called to a scene for an emergency,
be around the Rivers Creighton Airline.
They hit the road, speeding to help people in need of medical help. But what happens when a wreck shuts down the interstate in a part of town with the heaviest daily traffic flow?
We stay on surface streets off the interstate in that area, but the problem is everybody else does too. So sometimes it just really backs the traffic up, and it makes it hard to get to scene sometimes.
A lot of that's play by ear, but usually our dispatch center does try to let us know where the road closures are and where traffic is backing up, where it's the most congested.
In addition to backups, today EMS workers had to figure out how to get around roads that were shut down altogether. Bringing a patient from Baton Rouge Rehab Center to Our Lady of the Lake Hospital, normally a 2-minute trip down Essen Lane, turned into a 15-minute circle down Jefferson, Bluebonnet, and Suma, and back across Essen Lane to the hospital. In situations like this, McDonough asks the public to help.
Obey traffic laws. If we have our lights and sirens on, please pull to the right and stop, and yield the right of way to us.
Fortunately, this is all isolated to one area. It has made a big impact on the people trying to get in and out of town, people trying to get around town. So it has a huge impact. I'm hoping that it'll be over, soon.
In Baton Rouge, Kelsey Davis, WAFB 9 News.
We want to recap for you what they announced in the briefing, and that is if you need to evacuate, a Baton Rouge police officer will personally visit you. Don't take any other messages as official. We're told this will not happen before 10 tonight, so be sure to check in with us at 10 for an update. Also, 9 News, WAFB.com, and WAFB's free mobile app. 24/7 updates on the traffic situation plus traffic cams. Remember that on your phone. All right, let's recap the main headlines that came out of the news briefing that happened at the Mayor's Office of Homeland Security in the last hour. Late tonight, emergency officials will begin what's called a vent and burn of that tanker, basically burning off the tanker full of isobutane. It's a very dangerous process, so there will be mandatory evacuations issued for some homes in the immediate vicinity of the tanker. There will also be a shelter-in-place ordered for a wider range of homes. I-10 in both directions between Essen and Segan will remain closed, likely throughout the night. Stay with us. We'll have your updates online and on your phone.
This is 9 News at 10.
We have breaking news tonight. Evacuations are underway for homes near the I-10 18-wheeler accident site. Let's go straight to WAP's Kieran Chawla. She joins us with the latest. Kieran?
Thank you, Donna. Now, it's been 18 hours since this wreck happened, and still I-10 east and westbound remain closed. A few hours ago, they began preparing this site, and around 8:30, like you said, those evacuations began. We're joined now live by several city and state officials. Let's take a listen in.
Okay, well, basically what we've done so far is the evacuations have taken place. The police officers have people in those areas to make sure everybody's protected.
And for the audience, for the viewers, you will be hearing 2 large booms through the night, so be aware of that. Those will be to release the pressure. Also, they are calling this an unusual event. You heard the mayor saying that, and of course, thanking everyone for their patience. The interstate, no word yet as to what time that interstate will be opening up, so just keep tabs on everything tomorrow morning, and of course through our website, WAFB.com. Donna, we'll send it back to you.
This is 9 News, the early edition.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. I'm Matt Williams. We begin with team coverage, of course, of the I-10 shutdown and the vent and burn of the tanker truck leaking a dangerous gas after hours of trying to decide how to safely unload the highly flammable isobutane off that tanker. Authorities deciding this was the best option: ignite the explosion, let the gas burn itself out. The video you're seeing, truly incredible. Not live. This was just yesterday, earlier this morning that this was happening. A coordinated effort among several agencies, first making sure, of course, people who live and work near the area on Essen Lane and Interstate 10 were completely safe, and then purposely igniting that gas. Much more on this. The video, again, you're looking at it, incredible. Johnny Asian is standing by in the 9 News Traffic Center to help you, of course, with your morning commute, because it's still going to be an issue. But right now, our very own Elizabeth Vowell joining us live from the scene where that happened not too long ago. Elizabeth, good morning to you.
Good morning, Matt. And right now, the latest news and good news for the residents is that all the evacuations have been lifted. That was lifted about 2 o'clock this morning, so everyone can return to their homes. And those people in the outer layer who were just told to stay inside and not come out are free to come outside again. Now, right now, some more good news for commuters is that the I-10 westbound is close to being open as the burn-off has cooled down. They're in there starting to clear out all the debris. I-10 westbound is close to being open. Now, right here with me with the state police on scene right now is Steve Hammonds. So, Steve, for commuters, what can they kind of expect this morning?
Well, this morning, the westbound side, we're hoping to get that reopened as soon as possible. Right now, it's just a matter of moving some fire trucks that were there. DOT has confirmed that the sign that was in that area is still intact.
The interstate is still closed on the eastbound side, and that's going to be at the 10-12 split. They're forcing you onto I-12. If you're coming in from Gonzales, they're still forcing you off at Segan. However, Elizabeth's out there on the scene, and she said that is very, very likely to change before morning rush hour. So we're going to keep an eye on it. It's a kind of a volatile situation. They're hoping to get at least the westbound side open for morning rush. Eastbound will be a little while longer, but right now, east and westbound still closed between Segan and the 10-12 split. But westbound lane could be open before you need it. Don't turn your TV off. Make sure you stay with us all morning.
Welcome back, guys. It's Elizabeth Vowell out on I-10, and what you are seeing right now are the first cars to pass through I-10 eastbound in 24 hours. The traffic nightmare that overtook Baton Rouge yesterday is finally over. Debris has been cleared from the wreck. DOTD has obviously given the okay that the infrastructure was not damaged in the explosion last night. So you are seeing motorists happily, for once in traffic, I think everybody's happy to be in traffic, making their way down I-10. It is now completely open. All roads open. Evacuations have been lifted. So it's looking like today is going to get back to normal and back down to business. Johnny, what can you tell motorists?